Hello and welcome everyone. It's Monday, and how you can better finish your Monday's evening as watching the Apex Online Racing season number 18, race number 6. We're heading to the Australia Bathurst or Mount Panorama. And to start, we wanted to say a big thank you for our supporters. That first of all, and the biggest supporters are our Patreon supporters. So thanks for everyone that's supporting us in Patreon. You are the reason why we are here and why we are able to be here and provide you these streams and also the race itself. And of course, in this season, also our sponsor, Coach Dave Delta. And this is the Coach Dave Delta is a setup and data analytic app for iRacing, ACC, Le Mans Ultimate, and Gran Turismo. So if you want to remove the mystery and stay ahead of your rivals, then yeah, just use Coach Dave's Delta. And as usually on the Monday's evening, we are both here. My name is Mārtiņš Bērtulis, and as usual with me, Jānis Viļumsons.
Hello, hello, good evening. Thank you, Mārtiņš, for the intro. And same as usual, we'll jump into the standings. So how does the situation look when we are going into Bathurst? So there's only 2 more races left, and this is a big one. But about the race, we'll talk about a little later. So the standings. P1, after winning now 2 races in a row, Grantas Kareckas is leading the championship with 382 points. In P2, we have George Boothby with 341 points. Yeah, maybe not as successful in the last 2 races, but I'm sure he's gonna come up big now in well, Australia. And then in P3 we have Jonathan Riley with 325 points, excuse me. And following him is his teammate Luke Whitehead with 314 points. So one interesting here to mention again is if we look at the points total, we see that Jonathan Riley has 360 points and Luke Whitehead 370. But just as a reminder, this season we use a drop stage. So the worst result is basically cut off. And for Jonathan, this is P14 in Imola. And for Luke, this is P8 in Nordschleife. So this then leads us with a situation where Jonathan has more points than Luke. So in P5, we then have Chris Harteveld with 275 points. In P6, Remy Papin with 248 points. In P7, Krister Spodans with 235 points. In P8, Axel Ramonet with 223 points. In P9, Jaroslav Honzig with 202 points. And closing out the top 10 is Samir Foch with 185 points. A very tight battle there also between Samir and also Ulke van der Meer and Lucas Congretel. But yeah, and then we have a total of 21 drivers crossing the 100-point mark at the moment. And a total we have 50 drivers that have participated this season. Looking into the teams championship, G League Boat is in P1 with 483 points. In P2 we have Ragioli Esports with 306 points. In third we have OP Elite Esports team with 223 points. In fourth, Rebound Racing with 206 points. In fifth, G League Esports Fetza with 181. In P6, Redline Zach Racing with 121. And closing out in P7, BF Racing Esport with 88 points. So that's the outlook in the standings leading into Bathurst. Then moving into the race session, or sorry, the qualification session. I'm jumping ahead. The cars are now jumping out of the pits. We are moving to the session, and you should be able to see it now. Exactly right. And while the drivers are warming up their tires, I will explain where we are and what is about to happen tonight. Just a moment. Setting up. Yes, and so basically, So tonight we have a 90-minute race at a perhaps misty mountain called Mount Panorama. The weatherman in the rain jacket in Sydney, 110 kilometers away, says that it is likely that the clouds with rain going over Sydney will avoid the circuit. But what does he know? He has not been inland since he was a toddler. Jokes aside, in other words, there is a small chance of mixed weather, 15 to 20%, and an even smaller chance of a 100% wet race, 3 to 4%. Actual precise percentages, of course, may vary, and this may change throughout the race, but this is to give you some idea. Some track specifics is that the mountain, of course, that we just saw Clifford and the pack going through it's notorious for good and bad reasons. Basically, it is going to be tough passing a car there because basically it will be tough to pass a car that is not actively trying to let you by in that area, as there's basically just one driving line. So whether it is for positions or blue, save both your races and wait until you're off the mountain before passing. That is somewhat the notes for the drivers. I mean, realistically, of course, we might see an audacious move somewhere in the mountain, but yeah, most likely we will see cars trying to stay as close as possible and then go on the big long straight. But yeah, that's a little bit regarding the track. I think there's a little bit more of an update coming in from Mārtiņš right now.
Yeah, so we have as usual we have 15-minute qualification right now, and after that we'll be following in a 90-minute race. So this is the long format race, one of the two this season. We have one mandatory pit stop, and we don't have a mandatory tire change or mandatory refueling. So basically, drivers need to have one pit stop, and they can choose what they will do in it. To keep the same tires for 90 minutes in Mount Panorama could be quite tricky. So I would predict that the guys will have a, let's say, split strategy in 45 minutes, changing the tires and also refueling. But let's see how that will go for them. One more point is that we have two new drivers today. So we have number 44, Tadej, and number 36, Stubenrausch. So maybe we can check them right now in the what cars they drive. Number 44 and number 36. Yeah, here we can see
Kevin Tadej.
Yes, driving a Ford Mustang, and the other driver, number 36.
Not sure. We have this driver on the grid right now. Yeah, doesn't look like so.
So we're missing that guy, but so we were expecting him, and so yeah, and a bit more getting into the, let's say, the actions that as you know, usually right after some actions there are usually some steward decisions and stuff. So, and as a result of the inquiries after the last race that we have in Kota, we have 3 drivers that have a different kind of, let's say, punishment after because of, let's say, causing the incidents with other cars. So unfortunately, we will not see Davy Hill in this race because he got a race ban for accumulating the 8 license points. And also we have 2 qualification bans. So those are drivers that will compete, but they need to skip the qualification. So basically they will start the race from the last 2 positions. And those are Fabien Guelot and Alejandro Perez. So both of them for acquiring the 5 license points. So just to give you a bit more information on the license points. So as you have seen in the previous races, usually after some incidents, the stewards are checking those incidents and then giving the time penalty and the penalty seconds. So that's the one part of the, let's say, the punishment. you have added seconds in that particular race, but let's say to keep the drivers more thinking about how they're driving, and for example, if the race is already bad in that day, so they are not having some more incidents, there is also a total let's say point limit that we have in the season, and we have a 10 point limit. And then when the drivers are reaching the 5 license points, as when we see how Lucas Congratel is hitting the wall in the mountain, so it's, let's say, mountain at its best. So basically, if you have a 5 license points, then you need to skip the qualification as 2 guys in this race. And then if you have 8, you have a race ban, and I think if you gain 10, then you are disqualified from the season. So yeah, that really means that if you have more points, then the more cautious you need to be, and if you see that gap, most probably you're not going for it, to not hit your opponent once again and to get those remaining points. And of course, in the first lap, the points are doubled, just to make sure that the drivers are really careful in the first few laps. Because it's let's say, there's a good saying that you can always lose a race in the first corner and in the first laps, but you can never win it. So I think that's a thing what to keep in the mind. So we can see that right now Lucas Congratel is leading the race, and we see that the qualification.
But not anymore, actually. It was
Oh,
just a
that's
moment.
okay. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay, so
immediately
Chris
quickly
had,
changed. Yeah, Congratel was leading until when we saw the crash, and it was very close. It was like thousands of a second between P1, 2, and 3. But now it has changed, and the driver who's, as you already mentioned, Mārtiņš, participating, well, the first time this season, Kevin Tadej, has put in the second fastest time at the moment, being only 7 thousandths of a second behind Chris Hartebelt, but it has now just changed as Sam Gaskell is what returned after missing one race, has returned and set a new fastest lap, 1:59.210.
Yeah, we can see that also Jaroslav Honzik is once again back after skipping last race, and right now he's in a position 8. So we have both Bentleys back on the track. Let's say for me, my let's say biggest surprise right now is that Grantas Kareckas is only in the 9th position, and from one point I thought maybe that's a Mustang's problem, but then I see that Tadej is on the 3rd position, so it shouldn't be a Mustang problem. But as let's say, as you know, Grantas is really fast driver. So let's see, there is more than 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes left, so he will have at least two qualifications laps left, and I think he is the one that we need to watch out, who can get into the pole or top 3. So that's mainly for the other drivers that in the top 3 right now, so they need to be cautious, and they of course need to try to get even better lap.
We have a difference of 2 thousandths of a second between P1 and P2.
And I
2
think
thousandths of a second.
I think that once again shows how close the tier 1 drivers are. And also let's say, to check, we have a top 10 right now in the half of the second, basically one from each other, and we are not in some small, let's say some short track. We are in Mount Panorama, that, as you see, the fastest time is 1:59. So basically,
yeah, it's a 2-minute track.
It's 2-minute track, yes, and we see that the top 10 is in half of the second. So you can imagine how close the drivers and let's say how leveled are they. And one more thing, I think if we have 4.5 minutes left right now, so I think I skipped it last time, but that could be interesting for you. I will shortly check the BOP or balance of performance, and just for those ones who don't understand what's that. So mainly let's say that the BOP is for that everyone can drive a car what they want, and they have a similar opportunity, let's say, to be the fast in that car. And in the Mount Panorama we can see that Ford Mustang has let's say for Ford Mustang we are adding 25 kilograms, for the McLaren 21, for Audi 16, for Bentley 10. So that's really interesting. I think the Bentley usually is in the minuses, so that's a really, let's say, big change for the Bentley that's in the plus. So Bentley is really fast in this track. Then Lamborghini 6, Aston Martin 1, Mercedes and it's -3. Then BMW -10, Lexus -16, and surprise, surprise, Ferrari 296 -22 kilograms. That means that Ferraris, let's say, without the BOP, the Ferrari is not the fastest car, but with the -22 kilograms, the Ferrari should be really fast here. And we can see it also in the timing board. So yeah, let's say the top 3 right now stays the same. Sam Gaskell leading the qualification, Chris Hartwell second. Chris Tadej is on the 3rd position. George Boodby, it seems that he's trying to get a comeback, because I think in the last race that we have in Kota, the Lexus was not that competitive, let's say. Let's see if George will be able to, let's say, to get back to the speed and fight for the podium and for the win. Then we see Jonathan Riley 5th, Lucas Congratel 6th, Luke Whitehead 7th. In 8th position we have Jardier, and then Grantas Kareckas in the 9th position, and we see that he has just started his lap. He is improving around 1/10, and we have 1 minute and 45 seconds left. So that means that for the Grantas it's still 2 laps. So I would say even for all of the top 10 drivers right now, there is still 2 laps left. We see that the Grant is improving his time on 0.14 seconds. So if he would finish like this, he would jump. Now, basically, he will stay the same, because, yeah, say Jardier is 1.1.5 second, let's say, faster than him right now. So he needs to improve more, and we can see that he's the Grand Skaretsk is improving even more. Right now it's 3.5 tenths, so that could put him into the 5th position right now. So he's getting out from that mountain section. He's getting onto the big straight, and it's 450. That's 1,000. Yeah, it's hard for me to with in English with these numbers, but basically almost a half second faster. And right now it should put him into the maybe in the 3rd or 4th position. He's driving this corner right now. It's the same 4 tenths basically. So everything will be let's say decided in the last corner. He's getting into the last corner, and it's 4 tenths, so basically 4th place for Grantas Kareckas. But it's still 1 lap for him to go. So most probably he will try to get faster and better. In this lap, we see that Chris Hartwell also has just started his lap, and he's improving. Basically, all the top 13 drivers except Podans, who's in the pits right now, is on the green. And as I said, Riley and Kareckas and Boodby is a bit into the red, so basically they're a bit slower than their previous best time. So yeah, it seems that everyone has still opportunity, and as the times are really close, drivers are really close to each other. So it's, yeah, every tenth matters, and every, let's say, 1,000 of the seconds even matters now.
Exactly. While you were casting Karetska's lap, Boothby also finished a little earlier. His one improved, and it's only half a tenth from Sam Gaskell. Unfortunately, Boothby isn't improving on the last lap, so he has stopped his try. Same with Luke Whitehead. But Harteveld and Gaskell are both improving currently. Harteveld even almost by 1.5 tenths, Gaskell by a tenth. In the meantime, we see that Luke Congratel has finished a lap and equaled Sam Gaskell time. Precisely 1:59.210. But it's because Gaskell did this lap time earlier. This is why he's ahead. But at the same time, Gaskell has answered. He didn't want to leave it that way and has improved by 0.02 of a second. And Chris Harteveld is still trying to improve throughout the last few corners. He is improving by 0.5 tenth, which would be enough for a pole position. It is dropping down to 0.03 of a second, now down to 2. This is as close as it can get between the 3 cars ahead. Let's see what it says outside of that corner. It looks like it's 0.03 of a second, but it hasn't changed anything. So was that a track limits at the end?
Yeah, it could be, and yeah, we were talking just now how close the drivers are, and you see we have 13 drivers in half of the second, and the first 7 drivers in basically 1/10 of a second. So, it will be a really interesting race because the level of the drivers are really equal, and yeah, it will be a really interesting race taking into account that we have a really long straight, where most probably at the start of the straight, the Mustang and the Lexus will be those cars that will catch up. For example, Ferrari, but at the end of the straight, Ferrari has a really good top speed. So yeah, interesting racing ahead of us. But let's go through the standings after the qualification.
Yeah, so as I just commented, it got really close there between Gaskell, Congratel, and Harteveld on the last lap. I'm not sure if it was track limits or maybe the last moment where Chris lost some pace, but either way, as it stands in pole position, we have Sam Gaskell. In P2, we have Lucas Congratel, and then in P3, we have Chris Harteveld. Starting next to him in P4 is George Boothby. Then in P5 we have Luke Whitehead. In P6, Grantas Karetskis. In P7, Kevin Tadei. In P8, Axel Ramonet. In P9, Jonathan Riley. And closing out top 10, Jaroslav Honzik. Then in
the 11th position, Uke van der Meer. On the 12th position, Kristers Podans. On the 13th, Alex Knudsen. 14, we have Alexander Luboslavsky. Yeah, on the 15th position, we have Kняжицин. 16, we have a Piccolo. 17, Schroeder. On the 18, Anton Marci. Torelli on the 19th position. And closing the top 20, Boremechkov.
yeah, then in 21st we have Nathan Pierce. In P22, Josh Waring. In P23, DOR. In P24, Matt York. In P24, sorry. In P25, we have JR Lockenlow Jr. In P26, Joe Dauber. In P27, Nico Kumpu. In P28, Elliot Barron. In P29, Stephen Theobald. And closing out the top 30, we have Jonathan Clifford. Then in P31st, we have Dustin Herpel. In P32, Benjamin King. And closing out the whole grid, the two cars is Munier Kabir and Noel Hackey or Hatchie.
So that means that guys who needed to skip the qualification haven't also come to the race because they are not at the end of the grid.
Yeah, to be fair, I in some way I was expecting more cars going into this race. It's a big one, but that might be part of the reason. It's a big one in terms of being a longer race, 90 minutes, but also just the track is well, it's definitely a highlight name in the whole calendar. So that could be the reason some people just choose to not race in this track, knowing that it can get well, first of all, it's a tricky track, and then second of all, it can get crazy when there's a lot of cars. So yeah, I can see that some people just pick this as the track where they'll have the drop stage, even though it's a lovely track.
Yeah, it really requires a lot of attention. I would say, especially in the mountain part. So, and yeah, as it is 90 minute race. So yeah, it asks for a lot of attention, let's say, from the drivers. And one more thing that I let's say the driver I didn't see is for 488 Ferrari 488 driver Samir Foch, right? So it seems that he's also skipping this race. No, but I think that the thing that is not really changing, let's say, is that the Ferraris. There's a lot of Ferraris in the top 10, and in this race we have 6 in the top 10. We have 6 Ferraris, we have 2 Lexus, and 2 Fords. Basically, meaning that we have only 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. But you can see that after, let's say, the top 10, we have also Van der Meer in the Honda, and also Podans in the Bentley, also Luboslavski in the Audi, and Knyzhitsin and Piccolo in the McLaren, and also further in the Porsche. So we have a lot of different cars here on the grid. And what else? Yeah, we have a junior with the BMW. Say if we're checking the different cars, and we have Dior R, I think fastest of the Aston Martins, right? I think so. That we didn't. Oh yeah, we didn't miss anyone. Yep. So yeah, as you can see, we have a lot of different cars, but yeah, we're missing 488. So usually Samir Foch is driving it, so hopefully to see him in the next and last, let's say, last race of the season. So we once again will have one more, say, different car on the track. And in this track, I think, so Jānis, so you have a more experience, let's say, driving in this track than me for sure. So how do you think how important it is to have a good, let's say, acceleration, or let's say more controllable car, or the let's say the top speed? So what's your, let's say, opinion on the car, on the choosing? If you could choose one car for only this track, or driving this track, so what car will you choose?
I think it depends really on what kind of a race it is, and what level of a driver you are putting in the car. Because if we're looking at having this tier 1 and maybe even the top side of tier 1 drivers, I think it maybe doesn't really matter that much even if the car is not as, so to say, stable and drivable. But definitely, let's say on average for this track, I think if you have a long race, you can pick a car that is stable up there in the mountain. Now, of course, if you are able to get a setup that works quite well up there, and you do not feel that you are about to die every single moment, though, let's be real, if you want to get a good lap, this track has to feel like you're on knife's edge. So yeah, either way, I mean, you can try to go for a top speed car, but it will then come at a cost at the mountain. So either way, we are about to cross the start-finish line, and Sam Gasquel and Congratel are running into the first turn, and we see that Sam Gasquel has managed to keep the inside, and there's a bit of a contact there between him and Congratel, and now Congratel and Harteveld as he was jumping off from the curb, and I see that Junior has hit the wall quite heavily there. A lot of contacts going into turn 1. Now let's see how it is after the long straight. We see a lot of cars bunching up, and there's already another contact between Congratel and Harteveld, and if I'm not mistaken, Boothby and Whitehead as well. Cars are bunching up.
What the save? The car, the Ferrari was fully sideways, basically.
A lot of contacts. We see Honzik also getting in another one. Another contact there behind it for Jonathan Riley. Cars hitting the walls left and right. At least at the front, we see that now everyone is in a train. No more side-by-sides happening, which is the most scary part, I think, going here throughout this hill section. But we see that it is anyways action-packed. Everyone's sitting in each other's bumpers and, well, hoping for the best, really. That the car in front is not braking too early, and that the car behind them is not braking too late. And we are already going down the long straight, and this is working very much in favor of Sam Gasquel. All the contacts behind him, well, starting with him and Congratel, but then between Congratel and Harteveld and everyone else later on has allowed him to, well, jump a little ahead of everyone and, well, drive in clean air. And hopefully there's already a second between him and Harteveld, so, but he does go over the curb, touches the grass. Let's see if this slows him down a little bit. It sees that around 2/10 is what Chris gains on this straight, but a lot of contacts have been recorded already. It's not possible to catch all of them, unfortunately, but well, we are seeing that the drivers are trying to make the moves as early as possible to gain the track position. There we see already a move from Luboslavski against Kniezhitsin. They are splitting the track going into the mountain part, and there's Josh Waring also using the opportunity, having a bit of a contact there between him and Kniezhitsin, and yeah, and then Kniezhitsin loses the control and hits the wall with the rear of the car, but he's back in the race, just lost a couple positions, and this now creates an opportunity for Dober and DOR, so they have as well decided who's going to be ahead of who, at least for now.
Yeah, right now we are checking the Kevin Tadej in the position number 8. So is Grant Skeretics in front of him, and let's say it's a bit of a surprise for me. To say that at the end of the straight, the Mustang is not really catching up on the Ferrari, so that most probably means that the exit of the last corner before the straight is let's say better for the Ferrari, so they're able to get the faster, let's say, exit, and then of course on the acceleration the Mustang is faster, but they are not able to catch up. But at the end of the straight we saw already how Karecka was really close to Ramunier, and right now he's also following quite closely. So let's see if on this, let's say, this a bit smaller straight after the first corner, if he will be able to get closer and maybe to overtake. But For now, it doesn't seem so because the gap is still quite big, and I don't think he will be able to catch up. Especially taking in account that let's say Ferraris is minus 22 kilograms in this track, so that means that the car should be faster and also accelerate a bit faster because of the, let's say, less weight. And yeah, we need to take in account also that the Mustang is plus 25, so basically in this track the difference is around 50 kilograms from the Mustang to Ferrari, let's say, from the regular weight that those cars have. And we see once again quite big, I think, rise from the Krister Spodans, right? He's usually very good in the first laps, and he's always at least 1 or 2 positions higher than he qualified. So that's a power of, firstly, of the Bentley and acceleration, but secondly, of course, Krister's skills and let's say brave on the first corners to fight and get through the pack and also to overtake drivers. But we see that for now Chris Harteveld has the fastest time on the track, that we can see, and you can see it also. So that's basically which driver has that purple square next to the position. That driver has the fastest time. So yeah, we can see that Chris Harteveld right now has it. But let's see, we are still in only 2 laps are finished. So maybe in this lap already any of the drivers would be able to drive faster. But right now we can see the fastest lap is, yeah, and the Sam Geskel takes back the fastest lap, and it's right now 2:00.192.
Nice battle really here. Luboslavski, Piccolo, Josh Waring, a little bit of contact between the 3 of them. We saw Luboslavski going around Piccolo on the outside and then Waring taking in the inside, and now somehow Piccolo has lost 2 positions immediately, and now he's switched in between these 2 cars. He has nowhere else to go. Actually, between 3 cars, as Pierce is sitting in his back, and almost Bodimichko is jumping in for the 4th. So they were trying to make basically a police move on him and blocking him in between 4 cars there for a moment.
That was really interesting. That let's say you also switched the cameras, and we saw how Pierce needed to brake on the middle of the straight. He needed to brake with the Mustang because he was already too close to the drivers ahead. To Piccolo, so yeah, he needed to brake to not have a contact. So that's really shows, let's say, the difference and between the cars, firstly, and secondly, how important it is to get the best exit out of the turn 1. But maybe I missed it myself, but I see the Grantas Kareckas has climbed 1 position up. He was able to get in the front of Ramunier, and right now he's getting closer to the Congratel that's fighting with the Luke Whitehead there side by side, and
it did look like there was a little bit of a contact as well. And now, well, Lucas has, by trying to pass, also outbraked himself and went over the fields of the track. Thankfully that part of the track allows you to do that. Of course, it hasn't worked very well into his favor, as he has lost now a couple positions, and in the behind him we see a battle with Tadej and Puadans, and well, at the end this has turned into a disaster for Lucas Congratel. Yeah,
that's a really unfortunate from him. He was fighting for the fourth position just before, and then he dropped few positions, and at the end,
well, unfortunate. I mean, you could even say he was fighting for the win, as he was so close to the pole position, and yeah, well.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him. But let's say the interesting move was that when let's say before the last corner, he didn't try to cover his inside line to Ramunier. Ramunier was able to get inside, and he pushed him wide outside the track. And with that, Podans and Honzik was able to Tadej and Podans was able to get inside of him, and then that moment happened. But yeah, with let's say with Congratel out from the fight for the win, it's Grantas Kareckas that has gained one more position, and right now he's already less than second from the Whitehead. So yeah, I think the interesting battle will be, let's say, taking into account the difference of these cars, that we have Kareckas with the Mustang, we have Whitehead in the Ferrari, and we have in the front Bootby in the third position right now driving Lexus. So we have almost this. Yeah, we have the same cars, but we have one more Bentley there. So here, what we're seeing in the, let's say, in the screens, we have Kristers Podans leading this train, then Jaroslav Honzik or Jardier following him. Then we have Jonathan Riley in the 10th position and Alex Knudsen in the 11th. So we have 4 different manufacturer cars following each other right now, very closely.
I mean, this also partly then explains why, well, in the case of Lucas, these types of situations just happen when you have cars following each other so close, the trains are running, and then one situation when someone goes for a move, or you brake a little later or too quickly, and then, well, yeah, you get into the situation where he went over the field, and then as he was returning on track, there was a bit of chaos going into the last turn of the track. So, well, either way, I think he's probably, well, very unsatisfied with how this race has turned out. It's probably, I would guess he was happy with qualification, even though probably he was able to maybe squeeze out a pole position, but I don't think that matters that much anymore, as yeah, I mean, he definitely had a chance to go big this evening, but then, well, this track is difficult, and it gives and it takes. And in case of Lucas, it definitely, well, took.
It's, yeah, he was risking getting inside of the Luke Whitehead there, I think. So that was a risky move that ended up into the, let's say, into the outside of the track. So it's yeah, and then some are unfortunate things, but let's see. We have a live stewarding, so for sure we will update you on the information when, as soon as the stewards will get till that incident. Then most probably some of the penalties will follow.
And I mean, and that's racing. That's racing. You have cars fighting in the top, and that's also what we want to see. Of course, we do not want to see someone, well, losing everything in the race like Lucas did, but we want to see cars fighting hard at the top, and that's what we got. And unfortunately, it didn't work that well for him this time. But it's always fun to see such battles. In the meantime, we have here a battle between York and DOR, and following a long train of another 5 cars there. And we see that DOR has used the toe to get past of York, and in case of York, he has went in a little too deep, which gives an opportunity for Kumpu and now Baron, as there was a contact between them, and York loses immediately 3 positions and now has to ease up, because there's another 2 cars right behind him.
Yeah, and still this group of cars as going as they went before. So still Podans in the lead. Honzik, let's say, the second position in this particular train. And then Jonathan Riley and Knudsen, so basically starting from the position number 8. We have four cars really close to each other. We see that Honzik's Lexus is faster at the end of the straight, and we see that also Jonathan Riley is trying to get, let's say, the bonus of that action, and he's also getting, and right now also Alex Knudsen, and the Podence is covering the inside line, so they're not able to take him, and yeah, also for Podence, so he loses 2 positions, so Jaroslav Honzik gets inside, and also Jonathan Riley is, let's say, using this opportunity to get inside and to overtake him. So the changes, but let's say taking into account how close they are to each other, I don't think that that's the end of this end of the switching positions. Let's say, as usual, it is so. Especially if you drive a long time, say together, and basically you're switching the positions, but then even if you just overtake the car in the front, it doesn't really mean that you will go away and you will say get away from the cars behind. It usually means that guys behind you will try to fight you back and to get back the positions, and we can see that Jonathan Riley is trying to do that. We can see also how tricky it is on the braking in this section, and how, let's say, less space for the mistake is there. So I have seen a lot of races in this track, but not raced myself, unfortunately, let's say. So yeah, so I was planning maybe to go to take my Ferrari for the spin tomorrow, also in the different tier of AOR. But when I'm checking the drivers right now and how they're driving the mountain, I understood that maybe I had a bit too less training to get in the first time into the track, let's say, myself. So I will most probably just skip this thing to not gain more license points for me. But in the front we can see Sam Gaskell still leading the race. Chris Hartwell half of the second behind him. Then George Boothby 3 seconds behind Hartwell, and then Luke Whitehead losing just a bit more than a second to Boothby, and then we see Grantas Kareckas really let's say getting close to the Luke Whitehead. So let's see, I think if Kareckas will be able to maintain the distance that he has right now till the straight after the mountain, it could be really tricky for Luke Whitehead to defend against him. But we see that in this let's say mountain part, how I wanted to say that Whitehead is able to get a bit away, but then now basically Kareckas with his Mustang shows that he's not going anywhere, and he's keeping, let's say, the same distance. And yeah, we see that Ferrari is a bit faster here, so Whitehead was able to get a bit more ahead of Kareckas. And here, yeah, I don't think that's enough. That's still a slipstream right now, but it's not enough to be, let's say, closer to Whitehead at the end of the straight. So we can see even yeah, we can see that this is the same. Mustang is getting closer, but not that much. So yeah, so Ferrari has found some secret acceleration tips and tricks for this particular track. Either that's a BOP or either just the let's say the corner before the straight suits Ferrari much better, because yeah, we can see that Grant Kareckas is really close to the car in the front, but as soon as they get till the last corner before the straight, the Ferrari is going away, and yeah, Kareckas, even with the really fast Mustang, is not able to overtake.
I mean, I would say that it's a combination of all of it, because realistically, well, it's the bop that gives you maybe that advantage for acceleration in general on the Ferrari side, or in the case against Mustang, it has equaled it out a little bit. But then also just the last turn or this last section, I feel like it just works well for Ferrari in that particular spot as well. So with combining it with the bob, that allows Ferrari to be competitive there going out. Of course, still Mustang has its advantages at that particular section, but then Ferrari has its own. So I think, at least by the looks of it, the bob is doing its work. Maybe more so than it was a few seasons back, especially on this track.
I think, and also in this, let's say, also in this this particular track, we can see that there's difference between the Ferrari and the Mustang is quite big, and that's most probably because of the bob. Because in the, let's say, in the previous race, we were able to see that if the bob is quite similar to the Mustang and to the Ferrari, it's really hard for Ferrari, let's say, to fight Mustangs, but in this track with this BOP, we see that they're almost let's say, the similar speed, and also in the fighting, let's say, it's not at all easy. It's not at all easy for Mustang to overtake Ferraris. But, yeah, it's an interesting thing. But one more thing that maybe is, as you said already, regarding the corners going down the hill, as at least what I have heard with the Mustang, Mustang is not that good into rotation, so you need to have rotation on the brakes quite a lot, so the car is rotating. Otherwise, it's quite stiff on the steering. And we see that particular part of the track, you need to lift most probably in some of those corners and not use brakes that much. So that most probably could mean that that still you need to press a bit of a brake to get the rotation in the Mustang, where with the Ferrari, for example, it's much more controllable. But as I'm talking and saying that, Karetskis is getting closer and closer to the Luke Whitehead, and this could be the lap. We can see that it's really close to each other already. And right now, on the acceleration, yeah, but still in this corner, in the acceleration, the Ferrari goes away. So that seems quite unexpected, let's say. But we see that Karetskis is still quite close, and he's getting ever closer and closer. So we are on the right position in the track on the right.
Job, yeah, now. But yeah, I mean, this last turn, it has this banking, this drop, and looking at Karetskis' inputs, we see that the car is sliding around a lot going through that last section. So I think this is also where he loses a bit of momentum going out of that turn. But I mean, that's just the characteristics of each car. So you have to use the strengths where you can, and then try to mitigate as much as possible the weaknesses, if you can really call them that way.
Yeah, and with all of these, let's say, I wouldn't call it fighting, but still driving close to each other, and Luke Whitehead, let's say...
oh, it definitely is.
Yeah,
I would say in this track, when you are that close, it definitely is a battle, because you...
Yeah, but he let's say, he's not using the fully, let's say, protecting lines and protecting the inside, but still he needs to drive a bit more off the ideal line to cover his position to Karetskis, and that we can see that they are losing time to Budby, because before they get that close to each other, 1.5 lap ago, it was 0.9 seconds, I think, between Budby and Whitehead. Right now it's 1.5 seconds. So yeah, it means that let's say that those a bit protective lines is really not helping Whitehead, because they're both losing time a bit to the George Budby. But at the same time, we see that Ramunier has a 5-second penalty. So I will fastly go and check. Yeah, he's getting that regarding the incident between cars 17 and 777 on a lap 4, and Axel Remnier forces car 17 to go off the track. And I think that could be the incident where
I think it's against Lucas Congratel.
Yes, Congratel, basically, that the thing what started all of this action that happened afterwards. So he pushed from inside, pushed a bit more to the outside or off the track. Lucas Congratel, then he lost, let's say, the acceleration speed, and then Podence and Tadej was able to get inside of him. So it means that we are one corner before that situation will happen. So most probably the next incident is that between the Podence and Lucas Congratel in the first corner already. So let's see what will follow. But before that, we can also see that there were few actions, but stewards have taken no further action on those contacts before.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we see that Chris Harteveld has closed in to Sam Giselle, and he's closing in more and more, but small bit by bit. It can be even hundredths of a second that are changing between each lap, looking at the times, but he's slowly getting closer, and the little slip that Ferrari is getting on straights is coming in handy. It does seem that maybe the exit here for Sam Giselle was a bit better, as the gap has increased a little bit again. But again, the slipstream here will work into Chris's advantage to get close again. So yeah, a tough battle also here for P1 between two Ferraris. Let's see if there's anything special up with Chris's Harteveld planned for, well, the first part of the race, if you can say so, before the pits, because we see that he's been doing this well, move to show to Sam that he wants to make a move, he wants to go by, but it's well, not yet really making Sam take different racing lines, at least from what I see so far. But I mean, the plan is to keep doing it until it works, I would guess so. Or maybe we see an undercut incoming. Actually, Mārtiņš, if you remind me, what did we have here regarding the pit strategies? Did we have anything specific?
Well, we had only one mandatory pit stop, and the drivers could
okay, yeah. So like I said, so we will probably split the race in two halves, and we're not that well, there's not that much left until that. Though at the same time, it's around 15 minutes, and yeah, I mean, if Chris is not able to pass Sam somewhat soon, I could see that to sort of save time, he maybe goes into pits earlier and tries undercutting Sam Giselle.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking into the let's say overall standings of the season, just to understand. So the let's say where are our top drivers in our overall standings, and yeah, Grant Skretz that's leading the championship right now in the P number 5, George Boodby P3, Jonathan Riley, and I think he's the, let's say, the one that's from the highest overall position right now, is the lowest. He's in the 9th position right now. Then Luke Whitehead on the 4th position overall, and also in this race. And then we have Chris Harteveld on the 5th position overall.
We should see a move now, as Chris Harteveld has been sitting in bumper of Sam Giselle and now going into the mountain section. They are side by side going in. Let's see if there's enough space for Chris Harteveld to stay on the outside, but Sam Giselle gains enough of a gap on brakes to save the position for now, to keep it for now.
It's really hard to overtake the same, let's say, manufacturer and same car being outside, because that corner has a quite big banking on the inside, and as, let's say, more outside you are, as more you need to brake, and it's harder to get inside, let's say, the car rotating inside and not going outside and hitting the barrier. So yeah, it's even if you're as we saw, the exit speed was better for the Chris Hartwell, it was still really hard for him to overtake from the outside, and it wasn't successful, and Sam Gasquel was able to keep his P1 right now.
Yeah, but there definitely was a chance if he had a little bit more, just few centimeters more, it might have forced Sam to leave enough space near the wall, which should have allowed Chris Hartwell to then stay on the outside and then well, move into the actually on the inside line when going into the next turn. So I think we might see another try right now. If there's a good exit now from Chris, we might get another shot. We see that he is able to get right next to the bumper again. Maybe not as successful this time when going over the curb, as we see Sam has kept around the same gap as it was going out of the turn. Yeah, so not much of a chance this time for Chris, but if he's able to keep it close, maybe he's able to use it going downhill.
At least from, let's say, we can see the battle between Honzik and Riley. It's only 0.2 of a difference between those two, so it's a really close battle between them. And now it's a bit bigger, and now it's a bit bigger already. But let's say from my experience, the Ferrari also doesn't have that much of a slipstream. Even if you're in the quite close to the car in the front, it doesn't really allows you to get much closer. So yeah, that's also, let's say, not helping Chris at this point to get closer to the Sam. But the question is, the also interesting thing will be regarding the and as
this is the worst place for this to happen.
Exactly, and
but he does get a gap. York does get a gap. He loses few positions, but there's not many more cars coming in, and so he's able to quickly turn around and continue the race. Though, of course, unfortunate for him, as Junior hits the back of him and turns him around.
Yeah, in the front of the race, it means massive pileup, most probably.
Yeah.
This guy, and for that driver, that means basically he's going with some kind of damaged car, and he's basically the last one on the grid. So yeah, it's quite fortunate for him that there was some gap and let's say behind, and he was able to turn his car and go forward, let's say. Because yeah, it's a really bad let's say place, especially if you're on the seeing your car is seeing in the other direction.
We see that Kareckas has passed Whitehead. We've missed this, but they have exchanged the positions. With now Whitehead closely following Kareckas. Let's see if he's able to answer.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it now. Let's say the overall standings, and Kareckas is the only one with let's say with the drop stage. He's the only one that has only top 3 finishes in his points, basically. So he had won 3 races. In one of the races he finished 3rd, and his drop races he finished in the 11th position in the Imola. So basically, with that drop point, he has 3 first places and 1 third, and he's the only driver that has it. So then the George Boothby has 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and the 5th position. and right now he's also in the third position in this race. Right now we're seeing Jonathan Riley, and once again he's getting quite close to the Jaroslav Honzik or Jardier, but still not, let's say, not enough to overtake. It's really hard, I think, to overtake Lexus on the straight. It's the same as Mustang. And I think it's one of the closest races that we had, let's say, taking into account that there's a lot of fights going on, and right now on the track there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 gaps, less than half of the second basically. So that's a really there's a lot. Then there's a lot of close racing between the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, this
and
track...
of course that's really interesting for us.
Exactly. I mean, it helps when you have a long race of 90 minutes. But I would say that this track does promote this kind of close racing or just closely following. Now, I mean, it sounds maybe a little funny in a way, because throughout this section it's very difficult. But at least in my experience throughout this section, once you have done enough laps, you do get into kind of this specific focus zone going through this part of the section. And if you are driving with someone together, it's you could even say the adrenaline is even higher. So you're just pushing each other more and more and more, and then of course you get into this situation where one of you might touch the wall, and then you might be unlucky, but you are pushing each other, and then you have these long straights where you're able to rest a little bit, and well, all the time, if you are within the slip range, you are able to close in. So then that of course promotes having some overtakes and battles the end of the straight.
And here we can see Jonathan Riley going into the pits. So he's doing the overcut, undercut, what you mentioned. So it's 53 minutes remaining. So let's say then splitting into the half, it's still 8 minutes. So it's 4 laps. But Jonathan Riley is feeling that he's losing time, getting, let's say, driving into the back of Jardier. We saw that he was once again really close to the Lexus at the start of the straight, but yeah, the difference of the cars still, let's say, the Lexus we know as of acceleration, and also the end line, let's say, the maximum speed of the car, and we saw that Riley was not able to get closer, or to, let's say, to as he was at the start of the straight, or to overtake him. But yeah, we see that Jonathan Riley, that we will shortly go out from the pits. So let's see how it will work out for him, because it's still quite tricky. So most probably he knows that there will be a free track in front of him, and that's what he also gets. So basically there's no one behind him in the front. He has York, I think, but he's also some time ahead, and before York also there's some gap. So yeah, so that basically means that he will have a free track in the front of him. And he will be able to set let's say, the fast times, and hope that Jardier will not go into the pits next lap to protect his position, and then already after the pits to be in the front. But of course that's a question how easy it will be for him to manage the tires, because it's 52 minutes left in the race. So yeah, it could get a bit too tricky at the end of the race, just because of the tire wear. Yeah, so here we can see the Luke Whitehead, so Grant Skretskas was able to overtake him. So right now they changed positions, and Whitehead is getting closer, but at the same time we see that Karetzkas is losing more than 3 seconds to Budby. And as we remember, when the fight between Whitehead and Karetzkas started, it was 0.8 second deficit from the Whitehead and Karetzkas to Budby. Right now it's more than 3 seconds, so Budby is also, it's easier for him, let's say, to take a breath. And he was able to get ahead of Karetzkas and Whitehead. But at the same time, he's also losing a time to the guys in front. So he's losing 5.3 seconds right now to Harteveld, which is really close to Sam Gaskell. So right now we see that our leaders are getting onto the straight, and the gap is almost the same as they had it before, so it's 0.3, 0.4 seconds basically, so it's a few car lengths depending on the place in the track. Where are they in the straight? The difference seems bigger. Here it's smaller. We see that Sam Gaskell drifted a bit. Of course it didn't help him on his exit and the exit speed, and we saw that Chris Hartwell was able to get closer. But right now on start-finish straight, it's once again the Sam Gaskell is able to get away a bit. So, but yeah, so it's a really close, say, battle between these two, and the same Karetzkas and Whitehead also half of the second. And we see that here Piccolo and Pierce driving side by side, both of the cars, and we see that Piccolo is the one that's coming faster out. But I don't think the Pierce will let that fight finish. But no, okay, so he's not trying to jump inside of the Piccolo. He's just driving, let's say, that having his position in the safe and getting back into the perfect line and following Piccolo right now. And yeah, well, a few minutes ago I said that there's a lot of close battles. So right now there's not that much, but still Harteveld is still 0.3 seconds in the back of Gaskell. So that's a fight there. The same 0.5 between Luke Whitehead, and here also the Pierce is showing his muscles of the Mustang. And at each end of the straight he's getting closer to the Piccolo, but still not able to overtake. So basically those are few battles that we have on the track. One more fight that I think we haven't seen is between DOR and Kumpu. So maybe we can check. This is position number 15. So there's also only half of the second between those two cars. So yeah, it's a good fight, and I think that's a fight for the best Aston Martin, right?
Yeah.
It should be. So yeah, if let's say firstly it's for the position number 15, but on the second it's still best if you are the fastest car of let's say that manufacturer on the track. So that's always important. And we see also one penalty came in between Junior and someone else, I think, because the Junior is the one that's getting the seconds, and I will shortly check it. We see that Junior Lock and Load receives a penalty for moderate avoidable collision on the lap number 16. I think that was what we saw between him and York.
Exactly.
Where he spin York going into the mountain. So that's car number 65. Yeah, that's Matt York. And one more thing that I wanted to mention. There, as we saw on the stream, there was an incident where Lucas Congratel basically lost, let's say, his race and the fight for the win and for the podium and also for the highest positions between him and Krister Spodens. and the stewards saying that the stewards are taking no further actions on this one, while number 69 Kristers Podāns could have been more to the inside. The line was cut by number 17 as well as they moved to the apex. Both drivers could have done better to prevent this contact, therefore stewards take no further actions. So basically that means even if the Podāns was inside and Lucas Congertel was in the outside, it's still let's say that both of the drivers could avoid this crash and drive a bit more carefully. So it's, let's say, the split responsibility for this crash, and there's no penalties. And I think Sam Gaskell just went into the pits because I saw that the positions were changing. And yeah, and right now we see that the Chris Hartwald is leading the race because Sam Gaskell is in the pit. And right now we have 45 minutes left, so that's basically, yeah, it's half of the race. So Sam Gaskell had the strategy what you told before. So he did the half. He split his race into the half, and this is like a perfect split, I would say, because it's 45 minutes left and he's getting back onto the track. So that basically means that he will have most probably the same amount of the fuel and also the same tire wear in both of these two stints. So he will be already familiar with the situation as it is. And right now the big question is, will Hartwald going let's say alone in the front of the race, if he will be able to put in faster times than Gaskell getting out on the fresh, most probably fresh tires. So then the question is what Chris Hartwald will do. Either he's going into the pits right now and he thinks that this lap was enough, or maybe he will stay out more. But I think checking the times.
Let's see. His last was 2:00.5, which was still around 2/10 quicker than the rest of the top 5, or even more if you look further down the grid. But as we see, Chris Hartwald has went into the pit. So let's see if this one push lap has worked good enough, as actually Sam Gaskell has a bit of an issue here. He has traffic ahead. He has spent a bit of time throughout the mountain with Kniezhitsin ahead of him, and now he has to try and get by him throughout this long straight. It does look like he will do that, but did Kniezhitsin stop him enough or well, long enough throughout the mountain section for Hartwald to come out of the pits ahead? We see that he hasn't yet started to move, and as I say that, his car is dropped down, so this might get really close. Where is Gaskell? He's now coming out of the turn, and he is still quite a long road ahead. So the used tires were not enough on Chris' side to make it work. It seems to even work against it.
Exactly, and we can see that Gaskell made the last lap 2:0:01. So that's basically, it's really fast. It's like almost the fastest time before, and with the fuely fresh tires basically. So one lap also only driven. So yeah, that's really fast.
Great outlap, yeah. That's
exactly. Then that helps him. To, and most probably maybe Kniezhitsin even helped him on the toe on that straight.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see. We saw at the very end of the mountain section. It might be that he only got close to him at the end of it. Maybe he didn't have. That's the part we missed. So maybe he didn't affect him in any way badly. Just actually made it easier for him. So in the meantime, we see that Jonathan Riley is also doing some great quali laps, so to say. 2:00.
And he's in front of the Honzek.
Yeah.
So that's the main goal what he did, and he did an undercut. So and then right now we see he's in the front, and he's not even in the front. He's 3 seconds faster right now, or 3 seconds ahead of Honzik. And yeah, okay. So there's the few guys that haven't done the pits yet, and maybe we should show Nico Kumpu. So right now he's in the lead. No matter that he hasn't done his pit right now, and he's doing it right now, but he's doing it from the P1. So and right now he's in the P2 already, but still at one point he was in the lead of the race. So lead of the race. And here we can see Kevin Tade. He's driving in the back of the York, and I think we missed it somehow at one point of the race, because Tade was in front of the Honzik and also in front of the Riley, but at one point Honzik and Riley overtook him. So I don't know if there was some mistake from him or what, because yeah, he was in front of them. Then one point he was already 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, and we see a message in the chat stating that Karetskis took a very long pit stop, and that is true. If we see his last lap time, it's on average, looking at others out lap, it seems that he has spent like an additional 18 seconds or so in the pits, which has cost him a lot. He's now down to P12, and he's around 6 seconds behind Knudsen.
That shows how close are tier 1, right? So you have at the middle of the race, you have some problem in the pits, and you lose like around 10 positions. Of course, Clifford and Ober still haven't been into the pits, so basically Karetskis right now is in the 10th position, but he was in the 4th before the pits, so that's not getting in his favor in this rate, neither in the overall, let's say, the championship standings. So maybe we can check how long people each of the drivers have stayed into the pits. So then we can see that he stopped.
Yeah, I was right, like 18 seconds. I was right. So it's around 18 extra seconds comparing to the average for most drivers. So interesting what it was. 18 seconds is quite a lot. It's either he I mean, this has happened to me just in this track, because when you go into the pits, the first, I don't know if he has the first box of the pits, but if you do, it is actually a little easy to go by it, to miss it, because it's very early on once you go into the pits.
Yeah, and then you need to basically put into the reverse, but I see that, let's say in the statistics, at least what we have, it shows that he stopped for 51 seconds. Oh, and that's the interesting part of it.
We okay, maybe we are just talking nonsense now. We are again getting a comment that I mean, that's also an information that might have happened, I guess, but that commenter is saying that he believes that Karetskis had crashed. So
then it means that he had to repair his car, because otherwise I can't even imagine how he can stop for 48 seconds basically. It's you can't refuel that much, and if you change tires, it's 30 seconds. So basically, there should be some repair for his car. So, but most probably that was before he get into the pits. So basically, he lost some time, and most probably it happened in the mountain, where you can smash your car without losing that much of a time.
And there we see a moment for Ramunier. They're going also on the field, and this works in the advantage of Riley, as he's able to get a move on him as Ramunier is returning to the track.
And at the one point, I was saying that from the overall standing, guys, Riley is the one who is in the worst position right now, and you see how fast everything is changing. So right now, from those ones who have been in pits, Riley is in the position number 5, and Karetskis is 10th. So yeah, that's going really into the Ferrari's favor, and also look, Whitehead. So basically, right now we are in the situation where from the first 6 cars we have 5 Ferraris, and only one Lexus is the one who is, let's say, able to keep let's say the Ferraris, not to take all first 5 positions. And let's say checking the gaps right now. You see that Boothby is 5 seconds away of Hartwell, and Hartwell is 2.7 seconds away from Gaskell. So at this point, it's, and taking into account the let's say the similar pace that Gaskell and Hartwell had, it's hard to imagine that Hartwell will be able to get back those 2.7 seconds without Sam Gaskell's same mistakes. So it should stay, most probably it will stay like that in our leaderboard, and then Boothby's 5 seconds back, and the Whitehead is 3.5 seconds back from Boothby. So and Riley then 6.7 from Whitehead. So let's see what the next. But okay, so I was willing to say there's a lot of time left, but not that much anymore. So it's it will be an hour of the people have, let's say, drivers have been raced already, and it's 34 minutes left. So in this track, that basically means 17-18 laps that we still have. So that's not let's say not that much compared that we have done already 13. So it's the smallest part remaining. So yeah, let's see if we will have some we will have back, let's say, some fights in the top 10 right now, because I think the closest gap right now is between Clifford and Tadej, but Clifford haven't been into the pits, and yeah, I was willing to say if there would be no mandatory pits, then maybe Clifford could stay, but then I understood that it's 1.5 hours, and I don't think that any of the cars could drive 1.5 hours without refueling anyhow. So yeah, he would need to go into the pits anyhow, and yeah, we see that Tadej is really reeling him in. So it was 0.5 or 0.9 when I said it. Right now is 0.3. So you see with each corner Tadej is getting closer and closer to Jonathan Clifford, and right now it's, oh, we see that there's yellow flag. We saw that Zhitsin, I think, was the one who was standing into the side of the road, and yeah, that was him. That was at the side of the road. But good that he didn't disturb anyone being there. And for sure, for more than 1 hour, we see that Clifford's tires is not keeping the car on the track, let's say that properly anymore, and he's losing a position to position. So let's see how long he will still drive and not go into the pits. So right now it's already 58. He's already 58 minutes on the track. So it means also he have put quite a lot of fuel in his car, so he's able to drive that long without refueling, and yeah, let's see what will be his strategy. Maybe his strategy this time was to be more onto the stream, basically. After let's say after the pits, to get in the front of the guys and then try to fight them. But right now it seems that the difference between the tire wear and then the speed of the cars is too big, and everyone who's able to get close to him is also overtake him quite fastly. Here we can see the fight for the position number 22 between
between Ferry Schroeder and
John
Joe Dober.
Dober, yeah.
Yeah, we saw in the chat that we have supporters for Schroeder here, and Schroeder is now in a battle with Dober. Dober has to go outside, and there's a bit of an opportunity to go for a switcheroo there or switchback, but Schroeder saw it and closed the line, so Dober could not make the move stick. And for now, Ferry is maintaining his position, P21.
Yeah,
And he does touch the wall there. So, well, small touches might not do much to the car, but sometimes they do hurt. Sometimes you hit the wheel, and then it doesn't go that well. Or if you hit it multiple times, it accumulates, and then of course you also have some, well, just aero loss.
Yeah, and that's really not helping straight, because in this track still let's say the straight speed is really matters, and as more aero damage you have, as less of course speed you have at the end of the straight, because of the damage aero. And here we can see Nathan Pierce in the position number 15. He's trying to get close to Piccolo. That's let's say, even if Karetskas had a crash and like 15 seconds, 18 seconds of damage, that's let's say quite an interesting decision on him to make the changes. Most probably the car was not drivable with that damage also. Otherwise, let's say in this tight field, I think it's. But yeah, still, I was just talking about the straight, and most probably with 18-second damage, everyone will just overtake him at the straight, anyhow. So most probably that's why he decided to say fix the car. Yeah, now we see still close driving between Nathan Pierce and Matteo Piccolo. Right now 0.5 seconds between them, but at the front we also had some kind of moment there, because we see that Luke Whitehead right now is in the third position, and he's losing 9 seconds to Hartwell, and Budby is losing 1.3 seconds to him. So because before that, I think the difference between Hartwell and Whitehead Hartwell and Budby was around 5 seconds, most probably. So that means that that Budby has dropped around 5 seconds somewhere. Okay, that was not the last lap, because in last lap we see that he's faster than the Whitehead, but was probably some mistake before that cost him like 5-6 seconds. But let's say checking his speed, most probably it means that there's no damage. There was just some time loss on him, and right now it will be interesting if he will be able to get closer to the Whitehead, and we could have some fight, because also Jonathan Riley is like 7 seconds away. So, and if they could start the fight, maybe Jonathan Riley could get also closer to them, because we know that Luke Whitehead is in the same team, in the same voice chat also with Jonathan Riley. So yeah, that could be an interesting, let's say, that could be a thing to check after 10 and 15 and also 20 minutes, how close those guys are to each other. But I'm checking the fastest times right now, and I can see that Chris Hartwell has set the fastest time with that's the only driver that has set a lap below 2 minutes. So it's 1:59.897.
Yeah, it was on the lap prior to this one, so he's He's currently the fastest car on the track. Well, actually, the last lap was identical for Harteveld and Gaskell, 2:00.137. But the laps before, Chris was a little bit faster, so he is the fastest car currently. So let's see if that is enough or it's only temporary. Yeah, so let's see if he's able to get closer. Either way, that's a tight battle there between these two guys. In the meantime, we do see few battles picking up. Jaroslav Honzik is getting closer to Ramunier, and Ramunier is getting closer to Riley. At the same time, Knudsen. Well, now it's Knudsen following Clifford. And there we also have a battle between Baron and DOR and Dobro Shooter. So still a few battles happening. And 25 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's I think you can also hear for the spectators. You can also hear that in our voice that it's Monday and it's quite late already, and it's one and a half hour race. So it's 90-minute race instead of 60-minute race. So we are also getting a bit. We are our energy is starting to fade away already, but and there's not, let's say, that much of a fights also to find let's say a good energy from them. But here we can see that Knudsen is getting closer to the Clifford, and
yeah, he has to brake very early.
Yeah, the speed difference between the cars is unbelievable, and I think Clifford has he has put a goal to himself on how much cars can overtake him at the one race. Because I think he's right now in the 11th. I think he has been overtaken for sure at least like 7 or 8 cars right now, and the question is how long he can drive without refueling and without changing the tires. So at least for the Ferrari, I know that for sure you can drive 75 minutes without refueling. So that means that it should be 8 minutes more, maybe a bit more for Ferrari. I'm not sure how fuel, let's say, consuming is Lamborghini, and
yeah, well, another interesting thing is that even with him now letting by all these cars or letting them overtake him, he's still the highest gainer in terms of positions at the moment on the track. With him now losing, I don't know, as you said, maybe 7 cars have passed him, maybe more. He still has net gained 18 positions. So if he is somehow able to make this pit very short, maybe he can still make this race a success for him in terms of how many positions he gains.
Most probably he will, because for sure he will not change the tires for the last 20 minutes, and I think he will still be able to keep his car on the track for a few laps. So that basically means that he will need to get around 30 liters of the fuel, I think. So that could cost him. Oh, and right now he's getting into the pits. So now we can count all together how much time he spends, because he has 11 laps left. So that should mean somewhere around 35 maybe liters, maybe more. It's just my wild guess right now without any calculation in my head. So that could be around 10 seconds. So let's see where he will be able to get out from the pits. But anyhow, he will get out from the pits, and I don't think he will be able to get faster paced, because firstly, he will have more fuel in the car. Secondly, he will most probably have the same tires, right? So I think the guys will just keep continuing on overtake him. The question is how far will be the opponents behind them. and how much of them he will be still able to keep in the back of him. So right now he's getting out from the pits. So I think he's, let's check in, yeah, he's in a position number 17. And right now Herpel is, they both have climbed 12 positions,
Yeah,
so that will be the fight for the biggest climber. So and they both drive a Lamborghini, so that's interesting.
And they're P17 and P18, so yeah, for Dustin this is now a mission. He's able to pass him. That's both being the fastest in Lamborghini and also being the biggest gainer.
Climber, basically.
Yeah, the biggest gainer.
You see, he stopped. It's like 14 seconds of a difference in the, let's say, in their pit strategy right now. The difference is 2.7 seconds, so that's also a thing to check. But yeah, taking in account that the not most probably, but for sure, Clifford is driving with old tires. My guess would be that Herpel, Dior R, and maybe even Baron will be able to overtake him. It's like 7 seconds right now. It should be around second in a lap that he's losing with the old tires. Yeah, we can see that it's like half of the second for the guys behind. So yeah, let's see if he will be able to get. And then right now we see that Grantas Karetskis is trying to get back his place, and it seems that Knudsen is giving him the inside, and he's giving him the position basically.
Yeah, there was a signal from the car ahead, so maybe, I mean, Knudsen saw that that's Karetskis and he is faster, so maybe not to slow both of them down. He let him get by.
Yeah, so right now Karetskis is losing 5 seconds to the driver that's driving the first time this season, Kevin today. But then it's like 10 laps remaining, so they basically driving, no, the last lap is 0.7 seconds, so I would say that Karetskis has time. He has time to get closer to that today, and maybe to gain one more position, but that's it basically, and that will also not be the easiest task for him. So let's see what he could do, because each position means time here. At the same time, we see that the battle between Ramunier and Honzik is getting quite hot, and the Riley in front of them. So the Riley in position number 5. Yeah, it should be. Yes, we can see that Jonathan Riley right now in the front, then Alex Ramunier on the 6th, and Jaroslav Honzik on the 7th position. So they are all three are less than 2 seconds, or between the first and the third one, or 1 second between the 5th, 6th, and 7th place. And we see also that George Bootby is getting closer to the Luke Whitehead. So seems that really George had some, I don't know, half spin or something that he lost the time, and Luke was able to overtake him. But it really matters on how this fight will end, because if George will be able to overtake Luke Whitehead, then he will be the one getting into the interviews, and then of course we can ask him. But for sure, for Luke, we can also ask what happened to the George and how did he overtook him. So checking the last lap, it was they're driving. Let's say that also the best lap is quite close, and also the last lap is almost identical between those two guys. So, but right now I think the George Bootby is getting into the slip, and at the straight, and it means that he is getting closer to the Luke Whitehead. And I think that will be a really interesting battle between these two. And if we're checking what's happening at the start, let's say at the front of the race with the leaders. So right now Sam Gaskell is leading the race, and Chris Hartwell is getting closer, slowly getting closer. At one point it was 2.7 seconds, right now it's 1.5. So it means like he have gained almost a half of the difference. So let's see if Chris Hartwell will be able to, say, keep on getting closer to the Sam Gaskell, and maybe also we would see some fight also there. But yeah, the last lap was also quite the same for both of them. So Chris is not getting much closer here. But I think that the thing that could come into the place between the Riley and Ramunier and the Honzik is that Riley did, as we remember, he did an undercut with, I think it was 54 minutes remaining when he did a pit stop. So that basically means that right now he's driving already for 40 minutes with the same tires. That means, for example, for our leader that drive into the 45, so it should be 5 minutes left with those tires that all the other drivers were driving, and then he will have 10 more minutes with even worse tires. So I think it should come into the favor of the Ramunier and also Honzik. But as we know, all of these drivers are really skilled and let's say professional. So it means that they are able to keep the tires under the management and not burn them down that much. Of course, but that could come into the play, and we see that the George Boothby, I think, is getting a bit more further away from the Luke Whitehead. And if we're checking the last lap, yes, he's been 3/10 slower. So he was closer behind Luke Whitehead before, but, and that's also a thing. Let's see.
But Chris is still gaining a little bit. It can be half a tenth a lap, or 2/10. In case of last lap, it was just over 2/10. So a very successful one, or maybe not as successful on Sam Gaskell's side. Either way, slowly Chris is getting closer to Sam Gaskell, and a point to note is that, if I'm not mistaken, we can actually just take a second to check this. Just a moment. Chris Hartwell has yet to be on podium. His top finish was P4, so at the moment it does look like he's on his way to have a podium, and we see the juniors there hugging the wall to let by the leaders. But yeah, at the moment it looks like Chris is going at least for his first podium, even more so specifically P2 or even a win. So yeah, has stepped at the right time, stepped up, and one of the most juiciest races of the season, and coming in at the very end of the season, where it also could change really much the placings.
Yeah, and let's say the fight that we have two really interesting fights. So basically, Boothby is getting once again closer, and at the same time also Alex Ramunier is getting closer to the Riley. So yeah, when I was saying that Riley has gained positions, I forgot about his undercut. So that could take, let's say, it could be not go into his favor right now when the last 12 minutes in the race that we have. And yeah, and that what, let's say, we also predicted that Karetskis is getting much closer to the Tadej. Right now it's only 1.7 seconds remaining, and taking into account that it's like 5-6 laps left, it should be doable for Karetskis to gain one more position and to get into the position number 8. because I think it's for the overall standings, it's really important for him to get as much points as he can, to not let the other drivers get closer to each other. But I think that as Sam Gaskell is leading the race and Chris Hartwell is in the second, it's really getting, let's say, in his favor a bit. That we see that the drivers who follow him into the overall standings, Whitehead and Boothby is third and fourth, and then Riley in the fifth. It's still, let's say, there's still a good position and a good points, but still not that much as the P1 and P2, because the points, let's say, the point difference are dropping with each position that we are going down, and the first positions are those ones who are really gaining the.
Well, the gaps
Really
between
gaining more
the positions is quite high there. So of course it's always ideal to get a win. But talking about a win, we see that Chris Hartwell is actually quite rapidly now gaining time in the last laps to Sam Gaskell.
And Boothby just overtook Luke Whitehead. So
yeah,
maybe we can check some replay, like 15-20 seconds, half of the minute, or.
We see there was even a little bit of a contact there between them going down the long straight, and yeah, so muscled it out.
Few contacts. It seems that Boothby was able to get quite close to the Whitehead before the start of the straight, and then on the straight Lexus did the job basically. Right now we see that he's getting a bit more, let's say, further away from the Whitehead. So that's, and we can see at the same time, we can see how Ramunier is getting closer to the Riley, and also Honzik is 0.2 seconds behind. So basically there are a train of 3 cars and also on the lead. So we don't even know where to follow and and to whom follow basically. Here I think we have like 1 second difference between Gaskell and the Hartwell, so it shouldn't be the fight in this straight, but between the Riley, Ramunier and Honzik is less than second between 3 cars, so they're really close to each other, also to each other, and Luke Whitehead is, yeah, he's also not letting George Boothby go, so it's, as it was 0.4 seconds, it's basically the same, and the difference.
Yeah, the battle continues there. I mean, anything can happen, but I think we have well, this is not the first time it happens this season. I think it has happened already quite a few times, where of course the beginning of the race is action-packed and somewhat until the time of the pits is when you have a lot of action. Then just after the pits, of course, you have a bit of action as you have the cars switching places, you have some undercutting and so, and then for a while it slows, and then it all slows down. You get only few fights, and then when it gets to the last 10 or so minutes of the race, it comes back alive, and then you have these battles in top 10. And now at the moment you have basically almost all of the 10 cars in the top 10 fighting for a position. So
yeah, and we see that Whitehead is getting closer to the Boothby once again, so it's 0.2, 0.3 seconds. So, and also between the Riley, Ramunier and Honzik, it's even half of the second between 3 cars. So they're driving car. Say basically there's even no place between those cars. So there is 1 car length between.
Each is also now 0.2 seconds behind today. So he has quickly gained enough time so that he will be able to, well, I mean, he has now enough time, 7 minutes to make the move stick.
Yeah, we would need like to split into 3 screens most probably. Because there are
even more. We have a fight for P1, for P3, for P5, and for P8. So four battles.
Yeah, between Hartwell and the Gaskell, it's 0.2 seconds, so it's really close to each other, and the differences are changing. So that's why we're switching the, let's say, the battles, because in one it's like 0.2, then 0.5, it's back again to 0.2. So it's really close battles. between all of the cars, and yeah, the Budby was able to overtake
Now we
the
see
Whitehead, but the
Karetska's
Whitehead is not
driving
giving
path
away.
of the day, going down the hill, and that's a move that he has made stick. So Karetska's goes up to P8 at the moment.
I think that was the easiest. That was the, let's say, the easiest battle that we had of those.
And now we see that Hartwell is at least he was showing a move going into the mountain part, but now he's sitting in the bumper of Gasquet, and I think now this becomes the main highlight of the race at the moment. This is what it all leads to. So if Chris is able to stay close enough to Sam Gasquet, we will have a massive battle going down the long straight. And we see that both cars are pushing heavily, and yeah, so Chris has continuously now been quite a bit faster than Sam. I mean, it's in some way it's crazy to say quite a bit, because at some points they have done even more than once. I've seen, I think, at least 3 times throughout this race that they have done identical laps, but over the last few laps Chris has been quite a bit faster, though this last section and the mountain didn't seem to be as successful, so he didn't get that close on the exit. He's going to be able to get close to Sam at the end of this straight, and if he's able to stay close enough, then he might be able to go for a move before the next well, the next time they go into the mountain. And we have a move here between Honzik and Ramunier. Ramunier has touched the inside of the curb, but has kept the car on the road, but Honzik has gone up to P6. This gives a little bit of a breather for Riley, as there's more than a second now between him and Honzik. So let's see if this is an opportunity for Riley to run away, or will they both catch him again. And as you mentioned, Whitehead is still following Boothby. He has not fallen behind with the 4 minutes left. If he's able to stay within this range, he could get a chance to go for it and fight for this podium. But yeah, then moving back to the battle between Gasquet and Hartwell, we have 3/10 between these cars and the drivers. And we see that they're using the whole road, going fully on the curbs, and then now, I mean, the tires are not great. That's 100% at this point. So now they're giving it all, pushing and then sliding around. So this is where it gets really sweaty, if you can say so.
Yeah, it's just we have it. I think we have even two laps left, because it's 3 minutes, and then the guys will shortly end the lap, and hopefully they will not get driving that close. Hopefully they will not get into the contact, because that's
really close. That was really close.
That was a thing that we really don't want. Anyhow, the thing would be 13 seconds away, so even with the small contact without touching the walls, it should be, let's say, okay. But still, it would be nicer if we will not see that. And yeah, we see at the same time we see that that Clifford is okay. He overtook Baron right now, but he has lost the positions to Herpel and also DRR. So yeah, the let's say the old tires is not helping him at all right now.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is trying to show that he's gonna pass him going downhill multiple times now, and this last lap he was really close. He showed the move, and then when going back on the racing line, he got, like, I don't know how close it was, but it was definitely not much more than maybe an arm's width. So yeah, I mean, it's all out now between these two guys fighting for the win. I think I heard how the tires were screaming on Chris's side, trying to slow down the car. And I think that actually has worked a little bit on Sam's side, as he did get closer to him in the middle of section of the mountain, but then going downhill, Sam has again increased the gap by a little bit, and this might be now enough for Chris not to be able to make a move at the end of this straight. Yes, I mean, unless it's gonna be a massive lunge, and it isn't yet, but let's see if he's able to keep it close enough for the next one, as we have less than a minute left on the race, and this is going to be the last lap of the race. So this is it. 2 more long straights. Let's see if Chris goes for it now or leaves it for the very end.
Yeah, and we see that Luke Whitehead is also only 0.2 of the second behind Boothby. So there's still fight ongoing on between those two also. And we see that I was a bit worried about Riley's tires, but we see that that fight between Honzik and Ramunier has ended up with them losing a lot of time to Riley. So we see that there's 2-second difference between Riley and Honzik that was able to overtake Ramunier, but Ramunier is only 0.3 seconds. So that's a really good fight also between those two guys. And
yeah.
Yeah, it's that much of things to follow. It's just as you said. So it's the same scenario as last race, I think, or the race before. That yeah, between, let's say, after the pit stops, we don't have that much of a battles. But then at the end, everyone is getting close to each other, and the fight is back on.
It was
and
very close, and now we see that the exit was finally great from Chris's side, and they both slid so close to the wall. I think now he has enough space to make a move. Let's see what kind of defensive line Sam Gaskell is going to use now, as Chris has to go for the outside, and there's a bit of a contact. And Chris has to go outside. Unfortunately, this battle ends with a contact.
Yeah, it's like at least they didn't lose. Let's say.
And there's also a battle at the same time between Whitehead and Boothby. They were also side by side, but Boothby is able to close the inside. But he has another chance to go at the last turn. Is it going to be a switcheroo move? It is, but Boothby does break a little bit, and there's a contact. And it does look like Whitehead slows down, as well as he knows that he was the one that hit the inside of Boothby there.
It seems that Boothby did a quite good job on let's say securing the inside, and then basically parking the apex.
He parked there. Yeah.
So that's a good defensive way, let's say, of driving.
But what a battle at the end. We saw also going over the finish line, Honzik and Ramunier were almost right next to each other as well. So what a way to end the race. I don't know. Let's see. We have an interesting interview up ahead of us. We have both Sam and Chris here, and we also have Boothby. So all 3 of these cars ended the last turns with contact. So I think this might be a spicy one. So P1, Sam Gaskell, P2, Chris Harteveld, P3, George Boothby, P5, Luke Whitehead, P4, Luke Whitehead, sorry, and P5 was Jonathan Riley. And then P6, Jaroslav Honzik, P7, Axel Ramunier, P8, Grantas Kareckas, P10, Kevin Today, and P10, Alex Knudsen. Let's move over to the into the interviews.
Yeah, and once again, I think it's the first time this season when we have an interviews with the guys, but it's still a bit unclear of how the end results will look like.
Yeah, especially the contacts at the very end, and also at the very beginning.
No, at the beginning, at the
those
beginning, it's alive. Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's we have a live stewarding. So so that basically means that if there were some, we have seen that the stewards have been into the middle of the race already. So most probably for the first corners, everything was set already and everything was okay. So that means that only the last, let's say, the this last incident in the after the straight most probably will also be checked by the stewards. So it could be a quite longer evening for them than for us.
Yeah, and I mean, have to again point out that this is the first podium finish for Chris Hartewald. Very close to also the first win this season, but yeah, so a big step up from him in terms of positions. Also good for the Ferrari esports team now, having all three of their drivers on the podiums. But we're still waiting for all three drivers to join the commentary booth, join us for an interviews. We see that Sam has already joined, but Chris and George are still yet to do so.
Yeah, I think for George is not something new, so he will most probably get out from his rig and get a different headset on, and he will be here as we have heard him already 3 times this season. For the Sam, and also we have heard him after Suzuka, I think, where he finished second. Yes, exactly. That was Suzuka and where Sam Gascal finished second. But yeah, as you said already, few times for the Chris Hartwald, it's the first time when hopefully we will be able to hear him, and he will come to the interviews. And yeah, so that's the first. That's, let's say, I was saying that for Grant Skretsk, he was the one that have all the without the drop stage. He is the only one that is on the podium for all of the races. But yeah, it ended up in this race with the accident, most probably that he had. But I can see that we have at least 2 drivers that we have right now. Is the Sam Gascal that's ready, and we also have George Boothby. So maybe let's put them in, and then let's see if Chris is coming. It's been quite a long evening already. Yeah. Hey Sam. Hey George.
Hello.
Hopefully the Chris will also hear us, and then he will join us. But for now, let's start with you two. So yeah, congratulations. Firstly, Sam, for you getting back onto the grid. You already, let's say, notified us that you will not be able to come last race after your second position in Suzuka. But yeah, so you were able to climb that one position up in this race and win. And we see that Chris is also joined, so we will also get him in. Hello, Chris.
Hello. Good evening.
Yep. So yeah. So once again, congratulations, Sam, on your win. Then regarding you, Chris. So it's the first time we're hearing you this season. You were really close to the podium already a few times. So that's nice that we can talk with you also. So you congrats on your second position. And George, I think you're the one who is delivering always some action for us. So congratulations for you on coming on third.
Thank you.
So let's do it as we're usually doing. So some highlights from each of you in the order how you finished. So Sam, Chris, and then George, and then of course we will have some additional questions for each of you. So Sam, stage is yours.
Yeah, I mean the race was good overall. I mean having Chris on my ass basically the entire race definitely wasn't nice, but yeah, GG to him, and that tap at the end. I think I look back at it and it was my fault. So it's up to him whether I get a penalty, but yeah. But the pit stops and all that lot went well. Tire wear was good. Setup was good, but yeah, overall got it right, and then had to deal with Chris on second hand.
Yeah, Chris, how it looked from your car?
Well, I mean, it was the first time for me near the top, which was nice. It was definitely one of my better races in quite a long time. Quali was decent. I could have had pole, but I messed up on my lap a little bit. Yeah, then the race. I don't know what happened at the start with the other driver. You had to have look at the replay. But I think my pace was amazing throughout the race. Unfortunately, I messed up my pit stop, so that's why I was so far behind Sam. GG's to him as well. It was a great race. Good fight. I couldn't really get close a lot of times, unfortunately. So I only really had a good opportunity in the last lap. I don't really know what happened. I have to look at the replay and see. But yeah, I'm happy with V2 for now. Yeah, good race.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And yeah, George.
Yeah, I think
You had a bit more of a fight, and then the action. We saw that you dropped once. You were quite in front of Luke. Then you dropped once again. So maybe you can talk about that one. So how that happened?
Yeah, I mean, like, remember, I was sort of in no man's land for quite a while, and I managed to pull a gap on Luke, and then Grantis had a crash in stint 1, and then we go into stint 2, and yeah, I noticed Chris has had a bit of a bad pit stop, so I'm like, let's try and roll with him. Maybe we can close the gap. I don't know. And I had just extremely bad luck with back markers. I had 2 in a row crash down the mountain, and I had to avoid them, and it meant that then Luke was right on my tail, and then I'm just the next lap. I'm going through the mountain, and I'm like, at least I'm gonna have a clear run this time. And my car just bottoms out, and I go flying off the road. And I thought that was the end of the race, but I managed to just save it with a bit of luck. And yeah, and then dropped behind Luke and had to do a lot of catching up. And he made a mistake. He hit the wall on the exit of the dipper, which meant that I had to run down the straight, and it was like probably my only chance to really go for the move, because after that my tires died, and then he's all over the back of me. He's really putting pressure on me, and even on like the last corner, he was right on me. And I think he made a little mistake and tagged me, but he was just really trying to get that that cut back. But he didn't take advantage of it and let me go over the line ahead. So fair play to him, good sportsmanship. So it was a great race.
Yeah, we saw that the last fight in the last corner, and we with Jānis, let's say, said that you really parked the apex. So your defense move was really good, getting inside and then really parking the apex. So there was no chance for Luke, and he hit you a bit in the back, and that's, as you said. So that's the true sportsmanship, as he let you to get into the finish. But yeah, so we had it from one of the spectators that the Grantis crashed out before his pit stop, but we didn't see in the stream. So maybe you can tell a bit more about that one. So at least you saw where it happened.
It was just behind me at some point. I haven't actually seen it on the replay, but it was coming down the hill, and yeah, apparently went straight into a wall, and he had quite a lot of damage to repair. So, considering he's the championship leader, I was really hoping it was a little bit more, but he was still able to get like a top, I think 9th or 8th. So he did get good points still. Fair play to him. He was very fast today. So I don't know where that puts me now in the championship, but I think I'm definitely a little bit closer. And yeah, it's all to play for, I guess, for the last round.
Yeah, so sorry, my bad. I really yeah, somehow thought that he was in front, but yeah, he was in back, so you didn't see it for sure how he crashed. But
I don't know exactly how he crashed, but it was on the mountain, I know.
Yeah. Yep. So you already, let's say, did a really good intro for the last round. and of course, for all of the spectators, it's as close it gets, as interesting it is, right? So not to finish in the P4 or 5, let's say securely, but to have you guys fighting for the win, also in the championship in the last race. So what is your expectations, and how much do you like Spa, let's say, and how good it fits Lexus? Do you know?
I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just gonna have to. Each round, I've sort of picked the Lexus for fun. I know it's like Coda, for example, it just wasn't a competitive car, but every other round it's not too bad because it's got the LFM bop. So, and then some rounds it was really fast, like Imola, for example. So Spa, I think the lap is pretty good there. So I don't think I'm gonna have anything extra over my rivals. But I'm just gonna try my best. I'll just turn up, try my best, and I know the Ford is extremely fast there, but it will have some ballast. So gotta hope that brings me into play, and I'll just try it. Even if it feels like I don't have the pace, I'll try everything I can.
Okay, let's say that's a good statement, and that will be an interesting race. And but yeah, guys. So Chris, you didn't have that opportunity for sure, and in this season. So maybe there's someone that you want to say thank you, or just you want to say hi to. So it's the same. So Sam, Chris, and then George. Yeah. So Sam, is there anyone that you want to say thank you to?
Sorry. Yeah. Well, my boss Boris and my team manager Dennis, and yeah, thanks to them and everybody else basically.
Yeah, Chris. So it's your
Uh,
time now. It's first time in this season.
Yeah. I guess I'd like to thank my teammates for the setup and helping out, supporting each other, and pushing each other to get the maximum out of us, which really helps. And yeah, I'd like to thank my team manager Anthony for the support.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris, and George.
I'm on the same team as Sam, so I guess I'm echoing what he says, but also, as always, the Twitch chat as well for supporting me, and all the people watching the official broadcast as well. Thanks, guys.
Yep. So yeah, I think that good wraps up this sixth race that we have this season in the Bathurst or Mount Panorama. So once again, Sam, congratulations on your win. Chris, congratulations on first time that
Thank
we're
you.
hearing your voice and your podium. And George, you are already, I think, fourth time that we are meeting you after the race. So let's see, and let's hope for the good battle in the last round of the season.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
All right. Thank you,
Okay, thanks,
guys.
guys. So see you next week.
Yeah,
See
thank
See you
you very
next
much.
week. Have a
Bye-bye.
nice evening. Bye bye.
No, bye bye.
Okay, so then it's I think it's a wrap also for this race. So let's see if we have updated standings already. So
No,
we don't,
I've been
because
trying to refresh all this time, hoping to look at how it looks like, and then maybe even show in the stream. But unfortunately, it's not yet up to date with the Bathurst results. So we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, as we already said before the interviews, we'll have to see how all these contacts end up and what happens. Where do the drivers actually finish? After the stewards do their verdicts on the contact. And then we move into the last stage, and it's in Spa, a legendary track, and I think it always offers a lot of opportunities to go for many passes, so it's a good track to battle on.
So I did a quick math. I did a quick math, at least between the George and Grantas. Hopefully, I'm right. But from my calculations, it means that the difference between them before the first round should be around 15 points. That means that yeah, George need to win, and Grantas should stay not higher than the third position. So it's still there is at least one position in the middle between them. But that's just my quick calculation. But still, it's only one position, one car that we need to get in the middle. So it will be a really interesting race, and for sure we need to take in account that also Jonathan Riley and Luke Whitehead is also still there fighting. So yeah, it will be a really interesting fight, I think, between all the drivers. And as we know, Spa is also one of the longest, or that's the longest track that we have in ACC, right? It's
I
2
mean,
minutes and
no,
15 seconds.
Nordschleife is the longest one,
Oh,
but it's of course a bit different than every other track that we have. But yeah, I mean, if it is the case that he needs just one car between him and Grantas, well, as George just said, I mean, maybe they play a team game with Sam. Sam comes in, stays in P2, and George gets the P1. But it's easier
exactly.
said than done.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a really good point. So you're a really good listener. So George has his teammate in on his side that. And he's really flying this season on the being second on the Suzuka, and right now winning this race. And these are the only two outings that he had this season. So that's a really good point. So let's see what next week will bring. Hopefully we had some let's say more interest for you to stream in next week, the last round of the season number 18, the race number 7 in the Spa. But as we're closing this one, so I wanted to once again say big thank you for our supporters that are supporting us and Apex Online Racing on the Patreon. So guys, you are the one that are helping us, and then you are the reason why we are able to be here and the stream you these races. Then for sure also big thanks to the coach Dave Delta, that's a setup app for multiple racing platforms. So if you want to check how you can be faster and get in the front, so then for sure do not hesitate and use the coach Dave Delta. And as usually we're saying big thank you also for our stewards team that are most probably still working on the on the last inquiries in this race, and also for the whole Apex Online Racing community and the management and everyone that's involved. So you are the reason that why we are able to let's say organize these events. And of course, a big thank you for every driver that is driving, because if you would not drive, we will not be able to stream it. And yeah, as usual, at the end, thank you also, Jānis, for joining me. So that was a really good race that we had. And yeah, see you next week.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone. Good night.